Hey there, dog lovers. You're listening to Wag.Wander.Repeat, the podcast where every tail has a tale and every pup is part of the pack. I'm your host, Frankie, here to celebrate the joy, the mess, the magic, and the mayhem that comes along with life beside our four-legged friends. So grab a leash, a treat, or just a comfy spot on the couch, and let's dive into today's adventure. Today's episode, I'm going to be chatting with you about how to handle hosting Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or any of those bigger holidays that your family celebrates. This includes um, hosting at your house with your dogs, some food scraps that you might not know to avoid, as well as how to prepare your guests to coexist well with your pups. I'll be teaching some tricks on how to meet a new dog because they're all about body language and trust. I'll also be revisiting a tragic news story from New York that changed the way our courts are viewing dogs who are now legally part of the family. So, some exciting news. I got my Christmas shirt on today with all the paws and the bones. So, as we're preparing for the holidays, we're going to be talking about some of those favorite holiday meals. But first, thanks for tuning in. I hope you and your pack are prepared for holiday fun. And I really hope that you are enjoying this holiday season that we're getting into. So let's get started with our Wags and Wins segment. This episode will start by diving into a tragic story behind how dogs became legal family members in the state of New York. So Duke was a beloved family dachshund who was struck and killed by a car while on a walk with its owner. Nan was walking her son's dog. Oh, owner's mom. Sorry, guys. Duke was killed while walking with the owner's mom. So Nan was walking her son's dog, Duke, across a marked crosswalk in Brooklyn. A driver failed to stop at the stop sign and made an illegal turn, hitting and killing Duke. Nan, who was holding the dog's leash at the time, was also within physical proximation of the danger, but avoided harm. She witnessed Duke's death and claims to have feared for her own safety during this. Nan and her son, Trevor, sued the driver for emotional damages. This case challenged the old law that treated pets solely as property, which limited damages to the dog's dollar value. The judge ruled in their favor, stating that the public views pets increasingly like family members. So while this case is tragic, it could help uh, many pet parents feel satisfied that the judge is ruling in their favor. I know that my fur babies aren't personal property, they're my family, and my heart hurts for the families involved in this tragic accident. So I hope that this inspires more legal protections for our pets who deserve to be treated like love and consideration because they are more than property. This case means that there are now 6 states that pets are considered family under the law. New York, Maine, New Hampshire, Illinois, California, and Alaska. There's many others that are increasing the way that they're viewing pets. And it's such an important legislation. So please stay tuned and learn more about this as we learn more ourselves. Speaking of how a dog is such an important part of a family, here's a story about how a dog recently saved his family from a fire. So this comes from Anchorage, Alaska. A family in Anchorage, Alaska woke up at 1 a.m. when their building caught on fire. But it wasn't an alarm that woke them. It was their loyal and loving dog who started barking and didn't stop until they all woke up. It saved the lives of his parents, as well as his dad and grandma, who are also both still asleep. So thankfully, they were all able to leave the building safely without the fire, without any, damages by the fire. So in local news, Arizona introduced a new bill called Bite and Run Law that just went into effect. While you might think it was common sense already, you may not know, or you may now know that it wasn't a law to exchange contact information with someone if your dog bit them. That's right. All you had to do under the law was report the bite to the local animal control. Well, this new law requires that the owner of the dog that bites a person must exchange contact information with them. So let me say that again. Owner of a dog that bites a person must exchange contact information with them. Violating this law is considered a Class 2 misdemeanor, which carries a maximum penalty up to 4 months in jail and a $750 base fine and up to 2 years probation. This is great news for enforcing pet parent responsibility and increasing the safety of our local community. Let's just hope that they also consider enforcing this law in cases where one dog bites another dog, which would lead to our best fur friends getting more protection. And maybe some of those dogs that shouldn't be off the leash being leashed. So let's get started with today's topic, Thanksgiving and our dogs. I'd like to start by saying that there is a difference between treating our best fur friend to table scraps and mindfully choosing human grade food to give them. I personally love treating my pack to human food, like sharing my banana with Maddie, who absolutely loves them. She'll even go to the kitchen and wait by the counter to ask for one. Now, Maddie just gets a small piece of banana, so don't fear, guys. I'm not giving her her own or even the whole pack that they come in. However, it is important for pet parents that we are mindful about what we choose to feed our fur babies. I know the holiday season is especially tempting time to treat our pups to something special, and I feel that urge myself every holiday season. So let's talk about some food from the Thanksgiving table, maybe the Christmas table, the Hanukkah table, the whatever celebration you might be settling into that you want to avoid, and what we would suggest instead. So let's start with the star of the pack, I guess, the Thanksgiving table. Thanksgiving is all about eating with your family, right? It's all about sharing food and coming together and being just thankful for everything that we have. And um, and your dog is drooling over just those smells already, right? Um, so let's start with the star of the Thanksgiving dinner, the turkey. No, your dog shouldn't have some turkey. Shouldn't have the same turkey that you'd serve your humans for Thanksgiving dinner. To start with, avoid the skin and bones, which are dangerous for them to eat. But did you know that seasoning also isn't good for them? Instead, you can serve them boneless, skinless, unseasoned white turkey meat. So avoid any of the seasoning. You want to avoid the bones and the skins. Moving on to popular side dishes, let's discuss how you can spare some of the ingredients for your pups. No, you shouldn't let your pups eat green bean casserole, stuffing, gravy, or most of the other Thanksgiving side dishes. Surprise, surprise. That's because various common ingredients like onions, garlics, chives, turkey drippings are toxic and can have life-threatening results for your pup. However, there are ingredients in the dishes that your dogs can happily enjoy, like unseasoned green beans, plain cooked and unseasoned mashed potatoes, or sweet potatoes, unseasoned cooked butternut squash. These are all things that your dog can enjoy in moderation. Now, for dessert, it's common knowledge that your dog can't have chocolate, but your dog shouldn't be given other common desserts either. Wouldn't it be great if you could just hand your dog a slice of pumpkin pie? I can imagine they would just love that, right? However, it's an awful idea for their health. Ingredients like nutmeg, sugar, fat, and certain artificial sweeteners. I'm not gonna pronounce this exolia. So xylitol are also toxic and potentially harmful to our fur babies. Instead, you can give them treats like seedless apple slices, plain cranberries, or pumpkin puree. Punk, I should just say like cooked pumpkin, right? Unsweetened cooked pumpkin. Keep in mind that while these treats are non-toxic, they can cause upset stomachs or be harmful in excess. Any change to your dog's diet can cause upset stomach and diarrhea. So be careful. I'd suggest only making small changes to what they're eating. If you're treating them with something special, um, a few spoonfuls of something special along with their normal meal is really enough. Let them just taste the holiday without making them feel sick. You should also remember to tell your guests not to share their table scraps with your dog. Every pet parent has their own rules and comfort level when it comes to their dog. It's only natural. That's why I recommend that you ask your guests not to feed your pup any table scraps while they're visiting. Even if they have good intentions, you should be in control of what your dog is eating, both to avoid toxic foods and to control their intake of any extra human food. If there are any troubling signs that your dog has eaten something that they shouldn't, it's time to see the vet. Um, Whether or not you meant for your dog to eat something off the table, it's important to watch for the signs. With so much food and so many people around, it can be difficult to tell if your dog tastes something that they shouldn't have. There is a wide range of symptoms, though, to watch for, including things like vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, difficulty breathing, seizures, tremors, excessive drooling, panting, coughing, and the list can go on and on. Overall, it's important to watch your fur baby for any signs of issues or to rely on your vet if you're worried. I always keep on hand two things. Pumpkin, well, I should almost say three things. Pumpkin, unsweetened canned pumpkin. Because if my dog has stomach trouble, diarrhea, it's kind of not eating or something, something doesn't seem right. It's not to the excessive amount that I will immediately go to a vet, but it is something's not right. In that case, I will feed my pup pumpkin. So if I notice just loose stool or different things, my pups are going to get a spoonful of pumpkin in their meal for maybe the next couple days. I also keep on hand salt. Salt will induce vomiting. So you only want to give it to your pups when they have eaten something that they need to throw up. My girl, Macy, is a big girl. She's a good 80 solid pounds. She stands up to my hip when she's tall. And, if she eats something that is not going to hurt her to throw up, but she needs to get out of her stomach, like medication or something like that, I'm going to start with salt. I'm going to dump it down her throat. Going to wait a little bit to, going to get her outside right away, but I'm going to wait a little bit and hopefully she's going to start vomiting. Salt will induce vomiting in dogs. Now, if you're worried enough about what they swallowed, I would say, get in the car and head to the vet. I'm not an expert at all. So veterinarians are always the best choice for everything. The other thing I will do at times, though, is if they ate something that they really shouldn't throw back up because it's going to hurt on the way out. Something that's sharp, right? Something that is going to poke or cause other issues coming back up. I will feed them bread, probably like half a loaf of bread for a dog my size. That should bind with it and pass from their stomach. However, again, in that case, I'm also heading to the vet because that is the best place, most knowledgeable place to figure out what is going on with my fur baby, if they're going to have to operate to remove and proceed with whatever their advice is. This is Wag, Wonder, and Repeat. Thanks for listening to this segment about your dog and food safety. I'd love to answer any of your questions, so please feel free to leave me thoughts or comments below. Now it is time for our dog park dispatch. While we're talking about holiday hosting, I thought I'd cover some of my best tips for introducing new people to dogs. As a dog business owner, there are part of our standard practices to make sure that dogs are comfortable and at ease with me as possible. However, for you, these can be great tips to teach your extended family on how to interact with your dog for the first time. Starting with some basics, it's best to refrain from being loud. Instead, try to approach the situation in a quiet, relaxed manner. You can also want to avoid making sudden movements and prefer every meeting should be done with the pet parent present to watch. The dog may want to sniff first, and that's totally normal. Consider offering them the back of your hand. I always like to keep my fingers curled in and just kind of offer them the back of my hand and kind of put it out there. It's kind of too close for you guys to see, but I keep my fingers curled in. I always figure if they decide they don't like me and they're going to give me a little nip, the fingers are, going to be a little painful. So back of the hand, sniff. If the dog feels comfortable with that, you can move to touch their chest. So right under their neck, right here on their chest is a great spot to give them some love. A lot of people reach right for the head, right? And I always say, us as humans wouldn't love that either, right? So when you're introducing yourself to a dog first and you're reaching out to touch them or pet them, their chest and their neck is a great place to do it. It's a lot less invasive than the head. And some dogs, you'll even notice them dodging that head touch, right? So avoid grabbing their heads and going in close immediately for like a hug. This can be a lot for a dog to handle right away. Instead, I always recommend going for their chest first. If the dog seems happy with that, then you can move up to their ears. And again, pet parents, you know what your dog likes and doesn't like. So make sure you stay close to help your relatives and friends navigate this interaction. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Wag, Wonder, and Repeat. I'm so thankful for your support. I'd love to help you by sharing any advice, answering questions, relaying to your thoughts. So please feel free to leave me comments below. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Leave me a review, share the show with a fellow dog lover. Got a great dog story or question or something you want to hear on the show? Head on over to Wag.Wander.Repeat on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube and let me know about it. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day, guys. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and get out there and enjoy your world with our fur friends.